Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Front. Got a match preview today for the Fulham game on Sunday. Massive game. It's huge for United. Amarim. I'm joined obviously with my boy Zayn. Zayn, how you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Excited, man. Very excited for this game.
Absolutely massive game. Yeah. So we're going to preview that. We're going to give you our lineups. You know what I mean? Talk a little bit about the players to watch, what we want to see, give you a score prediction at the end, hopefully. But just before we do that, I just want to say to every single person who hasn't already done this, please like the video, click that subscribe button. It means the absolute world to us, especially as a young channel. Do you know what I mean? New channel. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate that. And yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Hopefully previewing the game and hopefully at Craven Cottage as well. So yeah, I want to start quickly though, just talking about this keeper that apparently Man United are just about to sign, Lammens, from Belgium, from Royal Antwerp. Just bring up that from Fabrizio there. As you can see here, it looks like United are about to sign him, 20 million euro. That's exactly what we want to see. Not too expensive, young keeper. Listen, I've never seen him play. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I watch Royal Antwerp. I'm a massive Royal Antwerp fan. I'm not. I've never seen them, and I don't plan on watching them either. But apparently, he's meant to be the next big thing in terms of keepers. He's got a lot of potential. But yeah, 20 million euro. He's already agreed personal terms, so it looks like that deal's about to be done, pretty much. So yeah, I guess count yourself happy if you wanted a new keeper, Reds, because it looks like we're about to get one. Zayn, thoughts?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't say I've ever seen him play, to be honest. Apparently he's an exciting young prospect. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
But
really? You don't watch
to be
Antwerp now?
honest, no, I really don't. I'm not gonna be that guy, like, yeah, he's all that, man. Trust me, I don't know anything yet. I
Belgian
don't know.
League scout. You know them guys are just cap on Twitter, bro, all day and night. Like, yeah,
Why, man? It's okay. You don't need to know. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. You never know what you're gonna get. We never knew what we had with De Gea until he got thrown in the deep end and absolutely became one of the world's best keepers. So, excited for the opportunity. It seems like we've been monitoring him all summer as well. So
and
I
we
think,
talked about this
one to
before,
look
didn't
forward
we?
to.
I was sorry, I was just gonna say we talked about this before, didn't we? When Donnarumma links came up. We
Yeah.
started, and you were saying you really wanted Donnarumma. I was a little bit more skeptical about Donnarumma, wasn't too sure, especially
Yeah.
with the wages, stuff like that. And I was saying I would
Yeah.
much rather us go for a young keeper. So this has turned out exactly how I'd wanted it. So
I'm
perfect.
gonna
Young
say,
keeper with potential. There's not too much pressure on him to come. He's coming in right now. There's not going to be so much pressure on him to come in and straight away be our number one and be our best keeper and whatever. Just as long as you're better than Bayern there at the moment, which is a very low bar, I think. That's gonna stand you in good stead in our keeper situation. So he's gonna come in, not too much pressure. And then if Onana is just bugging out like he was last season, we've got an option there to try out that hopefully isn't just a complete crackhead like the other two keepers that we've had.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't
We'll
know,
go back.
man. I think I got conflicting opinions to yourself on the Bayern Deer and Anana, but we'll get to that when we get into the lineups and things like that a bit later on.
Yeah, cool. So back to the matter at hand, guys. Fulham, Craven Cottage, Sunday, 4 o'clock kickoff. Serious things. We're back, Premier League, yeah.
Back.
So Zayn, listen, I want to just quickly start off with some players to watch. Yeah. Who is your player to watch specifically for this game week against Fulham?
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. Like obviously it's hard to not, just list all the new shiny toys that we've managed to sign over this window. But for me, it was between Cunha and Cisco. I think if I had to pick one player to watch, it would be Cisco. Reason being, I think even though Cunha put on a great performance last weekend against Arsenal, and he really got me excited, man, with the way he played, man. I was like, you know what, we've signed a baller here, man. But
What a player.
he's a baller, man. He's so good, man. He's so good. But for me, I think the reason I go for Sesko is that I'm really excited to see how Manchester United play with that focal point target striker, number 9. And, if Sesko goes and whips out either one of them absolute disgusting shots that we've seen in the comps, or just a header, a proper striker just gets over the centre back, bang, smashes a header in. Like, I know that would excite me more than any other goal that we could score. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going for Sesko, man. He's my player to watch. I think it'll be exciting.
You know
What
what?
about you?
Before I get to my player to watch, just quickly talk about those two players you mentioned, right?
Sure.
Mateusz Cunha, what a player! This guy, bro.
He's a baller, man. He's a
I've been
baller.
watching. I watched the Arsenal game back like 3 times, obviously since Sunday. So why? Because why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Honestly, bro, the guy every time he picked up the ball, well, most times he picked up the ball, he looked like he wanted to do something. There was moments in the game where we were
Yeah.
frustrated. You could tell he was getting frustrated because of the lack of, like, I don't know, impetus United had up front, and he was just picking the ball up and just being like, "Budness, I'm doing it all by myself," and just running straight at the defense, taking on 3-4 players, bro. There's about 3 different moments in that game where you had about 2 or 3 Arsenal players chasing him, and he's somehow managing to keep the ball. So what a player he is, man. Honestly, I can't wait to watch him play.
Man. He gets it as well. I feel like he gets what it is to play at Manchester United. I know he's played one game, but even the way he instantly resonating with the crowd, getting them involved, like he's doing all the right things, and his flair as well, the little touches, the this, the that, and he's not, man. People before the season, before we signed him, or when we first signed him, were talking, oh, he walks more than anybody in the Prem and all this, and United fans signed another Rashford, all this kind of rubbish you're seeing online. But you know what? If he wants to walk, but he presses and runs the way he does when he needs to, he can walk all day, man. I don't mind. As long as he's running in the right times and doing this thing, then I'm with it, man. I'm with it.
Yeah, I think also with the emphasis that Ruben Amorim has had on our teams being intense and players running hard and working hard, I don't think they're going to go through all of the data that Cunha, they would have had to go through before they signed a player and sat there. They would have seen those walking stats and they would have seen those numbers, and they still would have also known that, well, they would have taken the hit, that this guy, they believe the risk, that this guy was the one that was going to be able to come into this team and fit into Ruben's, intense, high pressing, high energy style of play. And I'm not going to lie, I was watching him, from the stands. I was seeing it. There was plenty of times in the game where he was running all the way onto the edge of our box so that he can make a challenge or win the ball back. There was a time where he actually lost the ball and he followed him, ran it all the way back, and ended up winning a throw-in out of it to get the ball back. But also, like you said, just those little things, it matters. Like he knows, like you said, I feel like he knows what it is to play for United. Like, even in that one game, obviously it's only been one game, but from that game, you saw him, like I said, that moment. We sit in the East Stand, but there was a moment where he wins the corner and he gets the Stretford end up, and they were all loving it. And straight away, someone from behind us, I don't know if you remember, one of our guys behind us goes, the Stretford end would have loved that. You see how
I remember.
It resonates with the fans. Like, these little things,
man.
you might not notice as much when you're not in the ground, maybe, but it's honestly like you can feel it. And like,
you feel it.
Even in the dressing room, have you seen the quotes recently that have been coming out from the players? Like Diogo Dalot was speaking about it, I think this week, where he was saying, he's a loud personality. He's fitting in straight away. He runs the music and he makes jokes about everyone, and like everyone basically loves him. It's good to hear that, man, because sometimes you hear the opposite. You hear stories about, remember when we signed Alexis Sanchez, apparently after the first week of training, he said he wanted to leave or some stuff. You do hear those stories. So back in the day, so
you're right.
It's good to hear, the opposite this time. But yeah, I'll move on to my player to watch. This is going to be a controversial one for a lot of people. So sorry, Anna, I'm gonna apologize before. But actually, my player to watch is Onana this week, right?
Oh man, this guy, man. This why? Sorry, please. Why? Out of all the players, Mbeumo, Sesko, Cunha, Ahmad, all of these players are playing, and you're saying Onana.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Listen,
enlighten me, please.
On my list of players would have been Cunha or Sesko, or no, I could have done that. It would have been boring, yeah. But what I thought was, you know what? I can expect goodness from them. I know that Mbeumo is going to put in a shift. I know that Cunha is going to try and do some magical Brazilian stuff. I know it's going to. I know that's going to happen. I'm almost 100% sure of that. Right?
Okay.
What I'm not sure of at all
Yeah.
is Onana. All right. And that's the reason why he's my player to watch. Not necessarily because I love him, it's because I'm actually not sure whether he's gonna be now that we brought in this other keeper, is he gonna step up? Is he gonna start playing properly? Is he gonna because you gotta remember last season, up until December, I think he was one of the best keepers in the league. He was probably one of our best players up until December. And then, he was terrible after that he had big patches of basically just messing up. In December, specifically after that, he had like one of the worst periods I've ever seen from a Man United keeper. So yeah, it's that's why he's my player to watch. He's so inconsistent and you don't know what to expect from him. You don't know what you're getting from him. Obviously, we'll get to my lineup in a bit, and clearly he's my player to watch. He's going to be starting. He's not going to come on as a sub. So you might as well even go with my lineup first. Yeah, put it up, and I'll explain. So obviously, Onana's been, injured. We heard last week that he was back from injury, and he had 3 or 4 training sessions. But Onana, Bayende still was picked to start. Onana wasn't even put in the squad. So I think Onana comes back in this week, right? He's gonna have another full week of training, unless there's a fallout or there's an issue with Amorim. I think he'll start this week. And if he doesn't start this week, you're gonna start hearing things like, has Amorim fallen out with Onana? Are they trying to sell Onana? One of those 2 cases is gonna come out, because that's the only other explanation. So Onana
just to jump in there. Don't you think if he doesn't choose Bayern after the comments from Samuel Luckhurst and some of the other journalists after the game the other week, don't you think that he's almost just proving their point? He came in, they're going to be like, yeah, he had a stinker. Even though he didn't have a stinker, he actually played well throughout the game, but he made a horrible mistake, which obviously cost us the game ultimately. But he came out and he backed Bayern. Is he going to just give him one game and then drop him straight away?
It could be one of the typical Fergie, old school, backing him in public and then scolding him in the dressing room, because that's what I would have done.
I hear that.
And also, what he actually said, if you remember what Amorim actually responded to that question, he was saying, behind is, a G or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he also said that Onana's only had 2 or 3 sessions of training, whereas these lot have had a whole preseason, and I can't suddenly just put Onana ahead of him, even though
I hear that.
Which is fair enough.
That's
that makes
cool.
sense.
No, I hear that.
Onana, they've had a full preseason and they've actually played some games and not done anything too terribly, to be honest. And then Onana's come back within 3 days. He can't start straight away. Do you know what I mean? So now that he's had a week, and I think really he is our number 1 keeper, unless he isn't. Like I said, if he's not our number 1 keeper, he won't start this game, because that's a message that clearly Amorim's saying he's not our number 1, because he's had a week of training and he's still not playing, which must be, like I said, an issue that Amorim's either got with him off the pitch or just on the pitch. Clearly he's not good enough, right? And then you'll see that Lammens come in as soon as he can, really, because he's had he's already started the season for Antwerp and played games for them, so he's ready. He's season ready. So if he's coming in to be our starter, I don't know, but I think we'll see a lot about this game. But I still think Onana still has that number 1 title, and it's his to lose. But moving away from Onana anyway, I've gone with the same defense we had last game. De Ligt through the middle, Yoro, Shaw. I think not all of them did quite well, especially De Ligt. I think he put in probably his best performance in the United shirt last week. I think he did really well. Luke Shaw played really well. Yoro, again, just there's not enough words to say about how good he is. Other thing I've changed from the game against Arsenal is Ahmad. Ahmad comes into the starting 11. For me, I understand obviously defensive stability matters a lot, but for us, we need to score goals, man. I need to see some goals in this team. I need to see some Ahmad in Burma. When he come on at the end and I was seeing that little link up, it looked like there was some real fruit that was going to bear from that tree, man. But it looks like it really needs a little bit of, a little bit of work, a little bit of, a little bit of time to work. So I want to see those two together. And also, Ahmad's defensive capabilities, he's not the best defender, but he's not the worst. He can defend. He can
He's
put in
all
a
right.
defense.
He's actually all right.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not gonna, if you compare him to the likes of like Frimpong, like,
Yeah.
are you really getting any less? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're really getting much, less than somebody who's technically a right wing back, and Ahmad's not. He's more of a 10,
Yeah.
or like winger-ish, winger-esque kind of player. But are you really getting anything much worse than somebody like Frimpong? I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
agree. I
don't think
think
so. Yeah.
he's got a lot. Yeah, he does have some defensive capabilities, and I think I'll go with Ahmad tomorrow, or sorry, Sunday. And then obviously the front three, of course, the one that changes there is Benjamin Šeško. Comes into my starting 11. My striker that comes in, number 9, big, 6'5". Yeah. Zayn, can't tell me that's not getting you. Do you know what I mean?
I was so gassed, bro. I picked him as my player. I'm gassed. You don't understand. Like, man, when you watch this guy, man, just from the videos I've seen, even the fact how high this guy can jump. You've seen this guy hit like a under the legs dunk.
I said it
Like,
before. All aboard Air Šeško. All aboard Air Šeško. Trust me.
Literally,
I need to see a header this weekend.
fly Sesko, man. He's out
Against
here.
Fulham. If you do, you best believe he's getting clipped up and put all over everywhere. Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, Benjamin Šeško, obviously, yeah. And again, Dorgu, Casemiro, I think they all play pretty decent. I wouldn't change too much from last week. Get Šeško in so he can get some minutes under his belt, and get the front three playing together as quickly as possible so they could start gelling as quickly as possible. And yeah, Ahmad, Dorgu, yeah. You know what? I really feel like it's a shame to drop Mason Mount because he actually put in a good performance last week, and like, we had Paul on the fan front earlier this week that was saying Mason Mount was one of his better players and stuff, and I agreed with him. I think he was really good. So it's a shame to see him drop out because I don't think he deserved to drop. But obviously, we just brought in this big marquee new signing. He's gonna have to come in and start. So, like I said, all aboard Šeško. So I'm
That's
there.
it, man. That's
number
it.
1. That's me. I'm ready. So yeah, Zayn, let's switch to your lineup.
Nah, let's do this. There we go.
Go on. So you've gone with
Right. So yeah, exactly. So pretty much, I think it's the same lineup. I think we both went for, but for me, I went with Bindeer. I think he, probably a unpopular take on Bindeer, but I feel like Bindeer has been dealt a tough hand. He's coming in random areas. Completely like unexpected. Comes in, hasn't had time since he's been at United. Never really had a run of games. Never really built up any good form. He'd have a unreal game against Arsenal last season, and then, he'll concede a corner the game after or the game before, whenever. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has had a lot of times he's struggled, but I think he's a decent shot stopper. I think he distributed the ball very well last week against Arsenal. Again, that was another big game he was just thrown into again. Like, I think if you give Bindeer a couple games, like just a nice little run of games, I don't think there's much in it between him and Onana, personally. I think they both aren't good enough, but I don't know, man. I just have a feeling he's going to start Bindeer. He's been with him all preseason. Onana's been injured. He actually, like I said, he did play well, man. It was just a mistake. And it was a costly mistake. I'm not downplaying it. I know he's not good enough. However, we've seen Onana make that same mistake many times.
Listen, I'm not dropping him just because of a mistake, right? I just want to ask you specifically about this difference we have. Onana, if he doesn't play, what's that like? What message is that sending to Onana? Is that you're not my keeper? Because if you got Bayende there, I think it's enough of a mistake to be dropped for, in my opinion, right? If you're United keeper, you should not be making that mistake. I'm not saying Onana's not going to make that.
Onana made that mistake last season. He didn't get dropped either. Do you know what I mean? Like,
why though? Because there's no one to drop him for. The person we're going to drop for is going to go make the exact same mistake. In fact, there was a period last season where Onana Bayende was terrible.
Bayende conceded the corner, and then next week Onana conceded the same.
Terrible. Conceded the corner in the cup, and then we were like, okay, we'll get Onana back in, and then he conceded the corner in exactly the same way when Onana came in. They're both susceptible to the same mistakes. But I'm not saying that Onana fills my heart with trust.
No, I hear it.
Like, he's better than Bayindir, basically. That's all it is.
I
I'm not
think.
saying that requires that much, but he's better than Bayindir. So I'd play.
Listen, I'm
I'd
not
play.
saying Binder is better. I'm not saying Binder is better, but what I think he's gonna go with, I feel like he'll go with Binder. Like you said, Amano was injured for weeks. You know what I mean? Binder's been there throughout the whole preseason. He started last game. I feel like he starts this game.
So
Who
it's a
knows? You
fitness
know,
thing,
huh?
it's a fitness match, fitness
Yeah,
thing.
it's many different reasons, but I feel like he gives him this game as well. Because at the same time, although he's not technically the number one, you need to keep up the morale in the squad. You need to keep the players on board. Like, you backed him through, he was there through preseason. And like I said, he actually did play well. Like, it was a big mistake, but he did actually play well, in my opinion.
Other than that mistake, I
So
agree with you. He did play well. His
he played
distribution
well,
was
man. He
decent.
played
Like it
well.
was good.
So
Yeah.
it was a shame. It hurt me to see him make that mistake because he
I
actually
mean,
played well.
it's not like Arsenal gave
Like,
him too much to do, to be honest. They didn't really create much. I
I
think they
hear that.
created what
I hear.
0.29
But even
XG from.
distribution wise, you know what I mean? Distribution wise, last year he just kept booting the ball out. Do you know what I mean? Like he's clearly been working on that. Like he was distributing the ball very well, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on from the keeper.
Anyway, Zayn, let's end.
Obviously,
Let's wrap up with us. Sorry, gone.
no. I'll say, like you said, same really goes everywhere else. Ahmad came back in for me over Dallo. I think, we gave Arsenal too much respect last week, putting Dallo in. But yeah, Ahmad comes back in for me, definitely. He brings a lot to the team. Like you
Probably could
said,
have
man, we
started
need to
Ahmad
let
against Arsenal, innit?
100%, 100%. And then Dorgu as well, exciting player, man. Dorgu's very exciting. Sesko and obviously Queenie and Buemo, that front three. I'm just looking forward to see what it'll actually bring. And this game is very telling, man. This is a big game. This
Huge.
game will tell us more about our season than last week's game against Arsenal. Because last year we actually performed against the big teams, but we never performed really that well against this. And this is not even a small team. It's like a solid mid-table team. Like Fulham. They're just a strong, organized. So it'll be a telling game. But yeah,
You got
let's
any
move on to
players from Fulham
the.
side that you're worried about?
Do you know what it is for me? It's more how they're gonna set up against us. Like Arsenal, obviously, we're gonna come out attack. What you think anyway? They kind of parked the bus after they went 1-0 up, didn't they? But
You'd
Stoke
think
City,
so,
but
yeah. But
you'd assume. But it'd be interesting to see how we do against a lower block. Excited to see how apparently people say Sesko is like the perfect kind of striker for that setup. So just excited to see, but I think just their organization, the physicality as well from our side. I want to see us physical. Always a bit worried about the midfield. Our midfield. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
cool. Well, let's just wrap up with our score predictions then. Shall I go first or do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
You know what? I actually think we'll do quite well. I'm gonna be quite optimistic here. I'm gonna be positive. Why not? Why not? I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna go 3-1 United.
That's crazy. I was literally thinking 3-1 myself. I'll tell
I'm gonna go
you
3-1 United, and
who's scoring.
I think Bruno Fernandes gets 2 and Sesko gets on the score sheet as well.
Interesting.
That's what I'm gonna go for. Yeah, I think last season we went there and we actually won. We won 1-0. Remember that Lisandro Martinez goal from that,
Yeah. I see that highlight the other day. I started laughing, man. That guy is so funny, man.
that I don't know what he was doing there, but anyway.
He's enjoying himself, man. We don't get to
No,
see it
fair
very
enough.
often,
Yeah, no, I
but
was
he's
buzzing,
enjoying
bro. I
himself.
was
He's enjoying
absolutely
himself.
buzzing. So yeah, I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good, pretty. Actually, wasn't a good game. To be fair, it was terrible. Most of the games we won last season was still bad games, but we won them. So anyway, we won them. We beat them home and away last season. I think there were only one of 3 teams that we actually did that do, which is crazy because Fulham, like you said earlier, are actually a solid team. So
Yeah.
it won't be an
So
easy
wait, you said
game.
Bruno 2 and Cisco 1, did you say? Or Cunha, did you
Yeah,
say 1?
I said Bruno 2, Sesko 1. Or go on. You know what? I'll go Bruno 1, Cunha 1, Sesko 1. Because I feel like Cunha will have a great game. Put it that way, regardless of whether he gets on the score sheet or not.
No, well, I think Mbeumo scores in this game. To me, I was gonna go 3-1 myself, but I was thinking Bruno penalty, Mbeumo goal and assist, and Cisco goal.
I could see that for sure. And Mbeumo looked dangerous last time. He looked like he just
Bro,
needed
I
that
don't know.
little
Yeah,
bit of
I think
space, and he'll create something
Cunha.
or score.
Go on.
I was just saying, like, Cunha looked like he just, sorry, and Mbeumo looked like he just wanted that little bit of space and to get that shot off or to get that crossing. And hopefully he gets that against Fulham.
Yeah. I just hope I feel like he's built up a little bit more confidence. I feel like there were times in that game last week where I feel like he could have taken a shot, but he looked for an alternative route, which I'm not mad at because all we've seen recently is United players getting a yard of space and just smashing it towards the goal, and it, hardly ever goes in. Whereas, so it's nice to see that he was looking for the passing option. But I think now he's had a game, he's had a bit of preseason, had the game against Arsenal as well. I think in this lineup, I think he can, I think he'll get firing soon enough.
I agree. I think he will. I think he will, and I'm very excited to see it happening too. To be honest, I cannot wait.
Yeah,
So yeah, might as well wrap it up there. Guys, if you got this far in the video, you better have liked, shared, subscribed. Make sure you do the algorithm stuff. You know what we want. We need it. Come on. And for Sunday, you might catch me and Ethan around the ground, looking for some fan cams, talking to fans. Yeah, we'll probably be in the ground too. So if you see us, come
probably
say
find me on the watch along as well. Hopefully this week we'll get that going as well. So probably be joined by myself and my good friend Ernie as well. Probably be joining us as well for the watch along. So
good friend of the
we'll
channel.
definitely be
So,
seeing you then.
Yeah, so yeah, keep it locked, guys. Keep your notifications on. We will be back. You will see a lot of us this weekend. You'll see more of us next week. And we will see you very, very soon. So yeah, peace and love. Thank you for watching.
Nice one.